It's time once again for that business show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ, where business becomes show business. Jamie is a leading Tampa Bay real estate agent and featured on the Wall Street Journal's list of top 100 real estate agents in the nation. Jamie invites you to list your home with him today and learn more at tampabayradio.com. Now, live in studio and promoting the entrepreneurial spirit that drives the American economy, your host, Jamie Maloney.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to yet again That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business. I know a lot of people had a late night last night, including myself, watching the Game 7 there with the Cubs pulling out a tremendous victory there. And so very happy for Joe Madden and the Chicago Cubs. So first off, congratulations to them. I know my father is going to be very disappointed when I talk to him later on today, as he is an Indians fan and had been rooting for the Indians ever since he's been alive, and he goes back to 1955. So he's not yet seen a Indians world title, and so a heartbreaking loss for the Indians, coming back or losing after being up 3-1, and also the same situation hit them, I believe, in the '97 World Series when they lost to the Marlins. I think they were up 3-1 too. So they keep getting close, just to no avail. So
pretty exciting for the Cubs, though.
Yes. Did you stay up and watch it too?
No, I
Kelly,
didn't.
you're not much of a sports fan.
No,
though. That was a historic moment.
I realized that. I realized I missed a very historical moment. You know, I can probably just YouTube it and I can watch it this morning.
You're going to hear all about it today.
Oh, I have.
It's going to be all over the news.
That's actually how I found out they won.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was unfortunately too tired to even try to watch any parts of it. But yeah. I would have loved to and be in support of Joe Madden.
Yes, and it was nice to turn on the 6 o'clock news on the radio there and hear a story that led with something other than Trump versus Clinton.
I don't think I can handle this much longer.
Yes, we're almost there. So, but it was nice to hear about the Cubs and stuff.
Yeah,
so.
no, I'm congratulations to the Cubs. That's a great win. And so in 7 games, right?
7 games, yeah. The only thing that would have made it more special was if it had been at Wrigley, because they won in Cleveland. And as I mentioned yesterday, the curse of the Billy Goat, I was thinking, what a great publicity stunt would it have been, because to relinquish the curse of the Billy Goat, the fans or the people at Chicago had to allow Billy Goats into the stadium. So how cool would it have been if they had created a little pen behind the home plate in the seats and had Billy Goats back there?
Well, surely over the years they've brought Billy Goats into the stadium.
I don't know.
Just to see what happened.
The curse is now broken and everything, and so nonetheless, a great game. But I was thinking about that last night. If it had just been in Chicago and had some Billy Goats that you could see constantly behind home plate in a little pen area up in the seats where all the box seats are and everything, how cool would that have been? But to no avail. It was in Cleveland, and a heartbreaking loss for the Cleveland Indians fans. And so, but the Cubs were had the longest route without a win. So going back all the way to 1908. It's hard to believe, over 100 years without a win. So
that is so. How long had it been since the Clevelands had won?
47, 48, somewhere around there.
Okay, well then the Cubs deserved it, right?
Yeah, Cubs
if you look at it that way.
Yes, and Cubs, kind of one of those American teams there where everybody's kind of rooting for them, and except for the people that are specific to their own personal teams and everything. So they had the following of the nation behind them, and especially here in Tampa Bay because of Joe Madden.
Okay,
and Ben Zobrist used to play with the Rays.
Crazy question. Wrigley Field, is that Chicago? That's Cubs, right?
No? That's Cubs.
Okay,
yes.
see, when you think baseball, even someone that doesn't know baseball that well, I think Wrigley Field. I mean, you've heard of that your whole life, so. That's kind of, it's historic within baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an amazing stadium. I've been there 3 times, and if you love baseball and haven't been to Wrigley Field, it's definitely a sight to see. So let's go ahead and bring on our guest for the remainder of the hour. We have Gary Dolgin. He is an attorney with the law office of Gary S. Dolgin, and he's also running for Hillsborough County Circuit Court Judge in Group 24. So he's also a returning guest to the program. So we welcome Gary in this morning.
Thank you, Jamie.
Good morning.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And so were you up late watching the ball game last night?
I was until the rain delay in the 10th inning, and my 12-year-old son, who is a big Rays fan, was watching. I finally had to go to bed because I knew I had to get up early this morning. But I kind of feel like the Rays won last night with Joe Madden and Ben Zobrist.
Yep.
And what's interesting is that last year I've gotten to meet Joe Madden a few times, and my 12-year-old Joe had done a little phone video for him when he was in the Little League playoffs, wishing his team success. And so I'm taking my son out to dinner last year, and he goes, "Can we go to Joe Madden's restaurant and say hello to him?" I said, "He's not going to be there. He just owns the restaurant." So we peek in, and sure enough, Joe's eating dinner in there. And I said to my son, "Well, we're going to wait till he's done finishing his dinner." And then when he was, Joe came over to us, and reintroduced myself, and he said, "Do you have any campaign material on you?" And I didn't have any on me.
Oh no!
So I said, "Can you hold on a second, Joe?" I ran to my car. He stays with my son, and I get a campaign T-shirt, and I run back into the restaurant. I said, "Joe, every good athlete needs an extra shirt to work out in." So we took a picture together. We predicted the Cubs and the Rays would be in the World Series the following year, and he said he would vote by mail for me in the World Series. So the Rays didn't make it, but I'm happy for him. And hopefully, hopefully he remembered to vote for me.
Yeah, and he's a stand-up guy too. I met him last year at my awards show dinner, and his wife Jay has been on the program before. And so yeah, I got a picture with him and my father last year. It's ironic because my father's like, he sat at the dinner table with him last year at the awards show, and who would know that just a year later that he'd be rooting against him, when the Indians were facing the Cubs in the World Series. But no, he's definitely a class act. For people that aren't familiar, that he owns a couple of restaurants here in Tampa. And 717 down there on Howard. He's frequently in and out of there. My office is right there on that corner too, and I see him in there all the time. And a lot of times just sitting there having lunch by himself. I went over and said hi to him a few times and everything. Really, really nice guy and stand-up guy, so very happy that he picked up the World Series win. So Gary, you're running for the Circuit Court Judge Group 24. So first off, tell me a little bit about your background. You specialize in family law. I've been an entrepreneur for many years, and now you're going into the political circle.
Well, I've been practicing law 26 years. Started out as a prosecutor and also a public defender, so I have experience on both sides of the criminal courtroom. And then I opened up my own office, and I remember writing an article for the Bar magazine, no clients, no runs, no errors, and waiting for that first phone call. But for the past 23 years, been very successful, became a board-certified expert in marital and family law. One of only 26 attorneys in this county who have earned that distinction. You have to have extensive trial experience. You have to have recommendations from judges who have you've tried cases in front of your opponents, need to recommend you. But the hardest thing was taking an 8-hour written exam, which I thought I was done taking exams, but I was one of 6 in the state of Florida to pass the year that I took it. And we have an opportunity in running for circuit court judge. The winner of our race is going to be in the family law division, which is perfect for me because we have never had a judge elected to the circuit court who is board certified in marital and family law. So I hope to have the opportunity to bring expertise to the family court, and if the voters seem...
I'm really excited to have you in here, too, because I really don't understand how the entire legal system works with these different circuit courts and, the questions about should the judge be retained in office. So I'm definitely going to learn here throughout the hour. So first, if you could tell me, the circuit court, what is the circuit court? What type of cases do they hear?
Well, the circuit court is the trial level court, and the types of cases that the circuit court judge would hear, in addition to family law, which is everything relating to divorce, criminal felony cases, civil cases, damages in excess.
Okay, so civil or criminal, there's no differentiation between that. You could have a criminal case one day and you could have a civil case the next day in the circuit court?
Well, in the circuit court itself, but judges are assigned to different divisions. So the winner of our race will be assigned to the family law division, hearing dissolution of marriage cases. There's also a civil division, which circuit judges hear damages of greater than $15,000. There's criminal felony. There's juvenile delinquency. There is dependency, where the state may take away children from their parents if abusive parents, probate cases. So those are the different types of areas that the circuit court judge hears. And so there is only one circuit court judge race on the ballot this November. But what a lot of voters are confused about is that above us are several Supreme Court justices and Second District Court of Appeal judges, where voters are being asked, should they be retained in office, yes or no? And so a lot of voters have no clue. Frankly, a lot of lawyers probably don't know all of the appellate judges. But then our race is below, and people get mixed up with are we part of the yes or no? And we have to explain to voters that, no, in the circuit court judge race, it's a choice between myself and one opponent. There were 4 of us in the primary. 2 of us advanced to the runoff in November. So the voters will get to choose between myself and my opponent. And we're below. You got to get to page 2 of the ballot to find it, because it's a long ballot. But as my mother likes to, my 81-year-old mother who's out there talking to voters at early voting, she always reminds people, now, to remember my son's name, Dolgin, just remember Dol and drinking gin. That's how you can remember the last name.
So if you're elected to the position on a future ballot, are you going to then be one of the questions, should you be retained in office, yes or no? Is that how the circuit court works, or is that a completely separate area?
Completely separate area. Circuit court judges are required to run for re-election every 6 years. Most of the time, no. Circuit court judges and county court judges run unopposed. Like, for example, this year there were 2 circuit court races and 1 county court race. 2 of those races were decided in the August primary. Ours is the only one remaining. But not one single incumbent circuit court judge or county court judge was challenged this year, so they all won unopposed.
So there's no opponent, in a sense.
There was no opponent for incumbents this year. Occasionally incumbents get challenged, but most of the time they don't.
Okay, so what judges or what determines the yes/no, or what is that? Appellate judges you had mentioned?
Yes, the Second District Court of Appeal is the level above the trial court judge. Okay. So let's say if you have a trial in front of a trial court judge and you do not win and you want to appeal, then you would go up to the Second District Court of Appeal. And then if you were not happy with the Second District Court of Appeal, you're not automatically entitled to the Florida Supreme Court hearing your case. But if the Florida Supreme Court chose to hear your case, the Florida Supreme Court is the highest court in Florida. So the appellate judges are appointed by the governor after the Judicial Nominating Commission sends a list of candidates. And then every 6 years, they're up for retention. And it's a yes/no vote.
Right.
We've never had an appellate judge that's been voted.
People always
put
yes, right?
Yeah.
Unless
it's typically 2/3 yes, 1/3 no has been the historical.
Because you really don't hear it out there in the marketplace why somebody shouldn't. Although we are hearing some pushback this year because of Amendment 1. I am seeing some posts about people saying, "Oh, this judge, approved that language that's in Amendment 1." That's the only time I've ever seen that type of pushback on some of those judges and everything.
Well, and the Supreme Court justices do decide whether a constitutional amendment goes on the ballot, not based on the merits of it, but just based on whether the correct procedures were followed to get the amendment.
Yeah, I'm seeing some posts about people that are confused by the language of Amendment 1. We talked about that earlier in the week, and if you read the language of it, it makes it sound nice and cheery and everything, but a lot of people were opposed to it for their own personal reasons. Let me take a break here. We got Gary Dolgin. Again, he is an attorney and also running for judge for the Hillsborough County Circuit Court Group 24, and he's going to be with us throughout the hour today. Learn more about him at GaryDolgin.com. That's GaryDolgin, GaryDolgin.com. You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business.
How many times have you said to yourself, I wish there was an app for that? Stop wishing and start making the world better. Turn your brilliant idea into a profitable business by using Popcorn apps. Their affordable app design will help get your blue sky idea or proven business to the next level at a fraction of the cost of other developers. They will help you get through all the steps needed to make your thoughts become live. See them at popcornapps.com with a K in popcorn, or call them at 727-415-6705 for your free consultation and pop your kernel of an idea into $1 million business and a world changer starting today.
Teresa Turner is a certified public accountant and the founder of Tax Happens, a boutique-style CPA firm providing small businesses and individuals with hands-on, personalized tax and accounting services. Although we would love to tell you how happy their clients are, we would like you to see for yourself. Tax Happens has 21 Google reviews and a 4.8-star Google rating, 17 Yelp reviews and a 5-star Yelp rating, 38 Facebook reviews and a 4.9-star Facebook rating. What sets Tax Happens apart is number 1, upfront pricing, 2, clear deadlines, 3, personally available year-round, and number 4, a willingness to empower clients to do as much or as little as they desire. Visit taxhappens.com for more information.
Have you ever tried to buy a home for your family only to find out that you don't qualify for a mortgage loan? You thought that after 20 years as a customer of your bank, they would help you when you needed it the most, right? Unfortunately, the banks of today are not the banks of our parents and grandparents, and our relationships with them just don't matter anymore. My name is Frank Cotto, and I'm the president of the Lincoln Lending Group. We all may need a bank, but we also need a Frank, and that's what I'm here to do for you today. Lincoln Lending Group will waive all of your lending fees, which include your mortgage, application fee, your underwriting fee, processing fees, and any bank points. Just call 813-MORTGAGE. You drop the E, and we'll drop the fee.
In an age when the good and the better vie for attention, it is the best that stands out. The best of Tampa Bay from Proudly Florida is the love story for the city of Tampa, celebrating success, sharing achievements, a tribute to enterprise and community spirit. Let Proudly Florida showcase your business to your city, your nation, and the world. For more information, email info@proudlyflorida.com and be sure to visit proudlyflorida.com.
Are you in need of new flooring or ready to tackle that home remodeling project? Then contact Yeager & Company Incorporated, a family-owned, state-certified general contracting business with over 70 years of experience and the recipient of the Angie's List Super Service Award for the last 8 years in multiple categories. Yeager & Company comes to you with their shop-at-home flooring sales service, and their hardwood flooring refinishing is the very best in the Bay. Kitchen and bath design featuring American-made, well-born cabinets, and all work is done by employees, not subcontractors. Learn more at YeagerFlooring.com.
If you've been following That Business Show on Facebook and Twitter, you may have noticed the quality of some of our images. That's because one of our sponsors is pro photographer Rick Taseda, a member of the Professional Photographers of America. You can view his extensive work by going to his website at ricktaseda.com or call him for an appointment to chat about your photography needs at 813-641-4757. That's 813-641-4757. Rick Taseda Visuals. Call him for your next event or project.
Savvy business owners utilize technology to connect with customers, communicate among teams, and collaborate with partners. Even with advances in technology, you all know it's not infallible. Where do you turn when your technology starts working against you? Who do you depend on to keep your team productive? Don't wait until your technology fails you. Get ahead of the crisis and contact the professionals at Alpha Computing Solutions so they can show you how to keep your technology running smoothly. Visit them online at www.alphacomputing.com.
Heavy traffic on the southbound side of the Veterans Expressway from before Hillsborough Avenue all the way to 275. Just before 275, a crash in the center lane. Also heavy traffic on southbound 275 between Fletcher Avenue and Hillsborough. Southbound I-75 between Fletcher Avenue and I-4. And a crash on westbound Fowler Avenue was in the left-hand lane at Nebraska. See traffic problems, call the injury firm of Abrahamson Uterick. Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by Boys and Girls Club of America.
It's 3 p.m. School's out for America's kids. And when school's out, clubs are in. It's time to support the Boys and Girls Clubs. Visit greatfutures.org.
Today, a mix of sun and clouds with a 10% rain chance, high 84. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 68. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with a 10% chance of showers, high 82.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
And welcome back to That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business. Talking to Gary Dolgin. He's an attorney with the law office of Gary S. Dolgin and also running for Hillsborough County Circuit Court Judge Group 24. And learn more about him at GaryDolgin.com.
We had talked about early voting, and the other day I was driving by some precinct or some area, and there's everybody standing outside with all of the signs and everything. And I know you can early vote. What are the rules and regulations for as far as absentee ballot type things? But we can actually go to the polls now as well.
The early voting sites at numerous public libraries around Hillsborough County have been open since a week ago Monday, every day, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., even on Saturday and Sunday. And so I've been spending a good deal of time at the Jimmy Keel Library, and you'll have people coming into the library, and we ask them, are you voting today? And they say, well, this isn't my precinct. And they're not aware that all they need is their driver's license, and they can go in and vote there because you can vote at any library during early voting. And so there really is no excuse not to vote because every day.
They would promote that. I have not heard that at all, that I could go anywhere. So at all the places I've been driving by all this time, I could have stopped in and voted also.
Yeah, you can. So
I definitely do not want to wait until Tuesday. I'm going to go today.
Then you know your vote's taken care of. It's also less, the lines, because it's spread out over 2 weeks. You don't have the long waits most of the time. but 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., even on the weekend. So there really is no excuse for anyone not to vote.
Yeah.
Good to know.
And you were saying that, as a judge, it's sometimes hard to get you, out there and get people to know who you are. And you're telling me funny stories about how people sometimes decide on who to vote for. Share some of those stories with the listeners, if you would.
Well, when people show up to the library, they know who they're voting for president. They probably know who they're voting for senator. They don't know who the judicial candidates are, and especially because we're nonpartisan, so it's just our names sometimes. So unless they've done some research, read the newspaper, and I'm very proud that I've been recommended by the Tampa Bay Times and Hillsborough County Firefighters and several other organizations. But if they haven't done that, they may be skipping the race. I've heard people come in and say, I don't know anything about judges, so I'm voting for president and skipping the race. But I was at a library where these two voters came in, and I had spoken to them, and they said, well, we were going to vote for your opponent because our best friend shares the same name. And so I said, well, don't you have any friends named Gary? And they said, well, our son-in-law is named Gary, and we don't like him.
Oh, so you lost the vote because of that?
Well, actually, I spoke to him a little while, talked to him about myself, and they said, well, we can see that you're a nice Gary, so guess what? You've changed 2 votes that were going to go the other way to your way. And so, you just got to be out there and shake hands and be friendly to people, tell them about yourself, and if you get a chance to talk to a voter, you got a good chance of getting their vote because they say, I've never met a judicial candidate here, and we're real happy to see you. And, of course, my 81-year-old mother's out there, and people said to her, because Mom is out here, because you care enough about your son to be out here, we're going to vote for your son. And I have my wife out helping, my daughter, so it's a real family affair.
If elected, what happens then to your private practice? Do you have to shut that down, or can that continue? How does that work?
You would have to shut that down, and because a judge is a full-time position, and you cannot engage in the practice of law.
Even just as a manager or just a figurehead of the business, and let you have a field of attorneys underneath of it, you've got to shut it down.
I've been a solo practitioner, so I would have to shut it down.
And you said 23 years?
23 years.
Wow.
That's years.
In family law, which I think is a great, because this position that you're going into would be for family law also, so it is your specialty. Well,
and that is, and a week or two ago there was an announcement. It was reported in La Gaceta, which a newspaper, Spanish trilingual paper, that the chief judge had announced rotational assignments, and was announced that the winner of our race would be going into the family law division. And ordinarily, most new judges get assigned to the family law division. It's been treated as a stepchild at the court because most judges, most lawyers, they don't want to be there. And so I've actually have been told by some judges that I would be doing them a favor by taking a slot that nobody else really wants. A lot of lawyers don't like practicing family law. It's a tough area.
But it's your specialty.
But it's my specialty.
Currently talking again to Gary Dolgin. He is an attorney with the law office of Gary S. Dolgin, again specializing in family law. And he's also on the ballot for Hillsborough County Circuit Court Judge Group 24. And learn more about him at GaryDolgin.com. He's going to stick around with us for the remainder of the hour, too. So please stay tuned. We'll probably delve into some family law questions also when we come back from the break. You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business.
I feel guilty that I can't always be there when Mom feels stuck at home. She was always there for us. But now she can't get out, and I'm not always available to take her places. Someone else needs to help her get around. Then I learned about Home Instead. Now Mom can do what she enjoys because her personal caregiver is there, and I can just be a daughter again.
Are you struggling to care for your loved one? We can help. Home Instead Senior Care. To us, it's personal.
Hi, welcome to Yeager's. We just want to take a minute and show you what we're all about. At Yeager's, our primary business is hardwood flooring, although we are remodelers for kitchen, bath, and general construction. We operate a fleet of shop-at-home vans that have all the flooring-type products, hardwood flooring, laminate flooring, tiles, stone, what have you. So we're able to come out first with products in our vehicles and take a look at the setting, how the colors will work, and then to be able to come up with some options and ideas for you. If that's not good enough, we have a large distribution center that we inventory product and have a nice display area.
Near 22nd Street, southbound I-75. Slow from just south of Bruce Street Downs to I-4. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abrahamson Utrecht Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line, 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by Stand Up to Cancer.
I'm Tony Goldwyn. 20 years ago, when my mom had lung cancer, she didn't have many choices. But today, you do. If you've been diagnosed with lung cancer, please visit standuptocancer.org/lungcancer to learn more.
1250 winds, weather center forecast. A nice day, partly sunny skies, cooler. We'll see temperatures into the lower 80s. Could see a stray shower pop up as well today. Mid to upper 60s for the low. Tomorrow, low 80s, 20% chance of rain. Still looking at sunny skies through the weekend, mid upper 70s. Impact Radio 1250 winds, WHNZ.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
And we're back to That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business. Keep in mind, we're on here weekday mornings, 7 to 9, and also video stream available over at TampaBayRadio.com. Currently talking to Gary Dolgin, again, attorney with the law office of Gary S. Dolgin, where he specializes in family law and also on the ballot for Hillsborough County Circuit Court Judge, Group 24. So, Gary, you're talking during the break about a girl named Tara, and tell the listeners about the impact that she's had on your life and your election here.
Well, Tara is a client of mine who from 18 years ago, and I remember this very well because it was the Monday morning after Thanksgiving weekend, and she had called my office. She was very frantic because her suicidal husband had taken her then 3- and 5-year-old daughters, was supposed to return them over Thanksgiving weekend, but they were never returned. And so she had called around, found out that she called his parents. They were in Louisiana, and found out that the girls had been taken there. She drove all night to Louisiana, showed up at the doorstep. The husband refused to give her the girls. She called 911. The police said, if you don't have a court order, we can't do anything about it. And this was of special concern to her because a month before, he had attempted to kill himself in the Ocala National Forest. And she had allowed the girls to be seen by him because her mother-in-law had convinced him that he was okay. And so she was just trying to remain friendly with him for the sake of the girls. So she came back. She couldn't get a lawyer on the phone. She got me on the phone, and within 3 days we had an emergency custody order. But the problem is some listeners might not understand this, is that a Florida court order is not any good in Louisiana. We had to get her counsel in Louisiana to enforce the court order in Florida. That took several weeks, but during this time, I advised her to talk to her girls every night on the phone, but don't give any hint of what's going on because her husband may have picked up the girls and gone and hid somewhere else. And it was just a very sensitive situation. The police finally, when a judge in Louisiana signed an order, had to go out and get the girls. And there was some resistance initially, but they got the girls. Called me and said, tell your client to come out and get the girls. She again drove all the way out to Louisiana, got there. The she's done a video which is on my website, which is very compelling, and she talks about how the girls jumped into her arms and, you know, very happy to see her, mommy, and just such a sense of relief that she had. And as the police officer escorted her out to her car, he asked her, "Are you staying here tonight?" Because it was late at night when she got the girls. And she goes, "No." And he goes, "Well, that would be good. You get in that car and you keep driving until you cross the state line."
Mm-hmm.
So she was driving as fast as she could, and when she got into Mississippi, she tells the story of how she saw these police lights behind her, and she was a little scared, but she got pulled over for speeding. She said it was the happiest speeding ticket that she ever got.
Right.
And she told the police officer the story, and he said, "Look, you've got your girls safely. Now just drive home. Let's get them home safe." But the story didn't end there. He followed her back, not that evening, but he followed her back to Florida, knocked on her door one morning. She tried to get a domestic violence injunction here on her own. She did not get one granted, so we helped her, and she got an injunction granted. But he would show up at the girls' school, and fortunately the principal was prepared to deal with it, and he was still harassing her. Eventually, though, he did kill himself. He took his life, and he had threatened, of course, to kill the family. But he killed himself on Tara's birthday. It was his last act of domestic violence against her. And so I've kept in touch with her over the years, and earlier this year on her birthday, she called me and said, "Do you know what today is?" And she said, "I wanted you to know that I've been doing Toastmaster speeches about you." And so she has gone, with me to numerous events. She's done a video that's on my website, which I know tons of people have seen, and talks about her story. And I would encourage anyone to go on my website if you want to learn about me and listen to her story. But she is a survivor, and she's raised her girls on her own. The oldest one's graduated from the University of Florida with honors, and I got to meet her as an adult. It's a privilege to be able to do that, because you don't, as a lawyer, family lawyer, you don't meet the kids when they're young. And just very proud of that, and very blessed to have been able to have this impact on her life. And she has just been extraordinary and wanting to help me during this campaign.
Well, as a mother, I cannot imagine going through an ordeal like that and having your kids being threatened or even taken away for any amount of time. So having someone there to help you get through that and to make sure that your kids come home to you, and in fact, and then even with the threat of, perhaps it's not just him taking them, it's perhaps that he could even hurt them. And wow, that's a great story.
It is the most dangerous time of any breakup is at the beginning. So many times you read in the paper or hear on the news about a murder-suicide, and it's with people initially breaking up. And if you are a victim of domestic violence, there are resources for you, such as the Spring Domestic Violence Shelter. You need to get to a safe place.
How does it work when somebody is just making threats? "Oh, I'm going to hurt you, I'm going to kill you." Can you get a restraining order for that? But until they actually do something, can they be arrested and held criminally liable for making threats?
Well, a domestic violence injunction is not is a civil matter in which you can go if you believe you are in imminent fear of becoming a victim of either you are a victim of domestic violence, such as being hit, or you believe you are in imminent fear of becoming a victim of domestic violence, you can go down to the clerk's office. You don't need an attorney, although I would recommend that you get one. And the Spring does what will help you if you don't have the funds, and oftentimes
you said the Spring. They've been on the show before. Yes,
they have an attorney that can help you go into court with you, and Bay Area Legal Services provide attorneys for domestic violence victims. So you can go prepare an affidavit, paperwork to request an injunction. A judge will review the injunction on that day, make a determination if it's legally sufficient to grant, and then at that point, the person who you've got, if you got the injunction against your husband, they're not allowed to have any contact with you. If you're living in the house together, they're ordered out of the house. The police will come and order them out of the house and provide you protection. And then no later than 15 days later, the judge will hold an evidentiary hearing to determine if a permanent injunction will be entered. And permanent can be, anywhere from a year to indefinitely sometimes.
But they just, by making the threat alone, if I say I'm going to kill you, and if there's no history of prior violence, can somebody be arrested for just making that threat without the injunction in place?
Well,
people probably threaten that a lot and don't have any meaning
I've seen
behind
women
it,
that have
you
been
know?
harassed over and over again, but I hear stories like, well, the police told them until they actually do something, the talk is just not enough for us to act on other than getting a restraining order.
Well, you could probably see two different situations where someone could be arrested in one scenario and not in another. There is case law out there where in a domestic violence proceeding where someone had made a threat over the phone, but because it was not imminent, it was not considered sufficient.
Right. I've just hear so many stories through the years of women who have went through these stressful situations of people that are making these threats, and they're told, well, they didn't actually do anything. All you can do is go get a restraining order. And you see these 60 minutes specials where that's how these tragic situations
they
began.
all lead up to that.
They began with just a subtle threat in the beginning. It's just a shame that we have to deal with that.
Unfortunately, I've had a few friends over the years that have gone through similar situations, and the threats were initial, but there was always follow up, and unfortunately, it ended up not good.
So how do you disconnect from this as a professional? I mean, this is not a 9-to-5 type of job where you can clock out at the end of the day and you just go enjoy a ball game. This stuff stays with you. How do you disconnect from that?
Well, it does stay with you. One of the things that I like to do is I jog, and I find when you run and you run a few miles, that helps. Although, since I've been running a lot for office, I haven't had as much time to jog lately. So I am looking forward to, after next Tuesday, getting more back into my exercise routine. I run, I play tennis, and I think that really helps. And it is difficult because when you come home, these cases stay with you. Like, with Tara during that 3 weeks, that was on my mind every day. And, not every case is as life-changing or life-threatening consequences like Tara's case, but just having the pressure of having someone's their children in your hands or their finances, it is a lot of pressure. I mean, the practice of law is a lot of pressure, especially family law. But you need to do your best to exercise, get away from the office, take vacations. You talked about ball games. I like to take my son on Ray's road trips every year. And we did go to Wrigley Field a few years ago when Joe Madden was still managing the Rays, and I'm told that he really fell in love with Chicago that weekend. And after the end of that season, that's when he went to the Cubs. So, but Chicago is a lot. Our goal is to get to every single baseball stadium in the country.
Yeah, that's a nice goal.
And we've done a good number of them. So we're looking forward to. Next year, I think we want to do Toronto.
Yeah, I've been to Toronto. It's a good stadium and everything.
Well, you talk, unfortunately, it's great what you do, and somebody needs to do that and be there to support and protect for the domestic violence and family law cases. But unfortunately for you, you're dealing with people almost at the worst time that they're going through. And that's what we were talking about, holding, keeping that with you, or how do you let go of it? It's it has to be tolling. And I always talk about, surrounding myself with positivity. Unfortunately, that is not an option in your world and when you deal with what you do.
And you see people at their worst in that profession.
They say in family law, you see good people at their worst, and you were right. It's like when someone comes in my office, when you meet someone for the first time or you see someone, you're in the habit of shaking their hand and say, it's nice to see you. I've often had clients say, well, please don't take this personally, but it's not so nice to see you. I'm not really happy to be here. And my dad, who was a dentist, often joked to me, he said, people don't like to come in and see the dentist, but congratulations, you found a profession where people like to go less to see you than they like to come see me.
Currently talking to Gary Dolgin, again, attorney with the law office of Gary S. Dolgin, and also on the ballot for Hillsborough County Circuit Court Group Circuit Court Judge Group 24. Learn more about him over at GaryDolgin.com. You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business.
How many times have you said to yourself, I wish there was an app for that? Stop wishing and start making the world better. Turn your brilliant idea into a profitable business by using Popcorn apps. Their affordable app design will help get your blue sky idea or proven business to the next level at a fraction of the cost of other developers. They will help you get through all the steps needed to make your thoughts become live. See them at popcornapps.com with a K in popcorn, or call them at 727-415-6705 for your free consultation and pop your kernel of an idea into $1 million business and a world changer starting today.
Teresa Turner is a certified public accountant and the founder of Tax Happens, a boutique-style CPA firm providing small businesses and individuals with hands-on, personalized tax and accounting services. Although we would love to tell you how happy their clients are, we would like you to see for yourself. Tax Happens has 21 Google reviews and a 4.8-star Google rating, 17 Yelp reviews and a 5-star Yelp rating, 38 Facebook reviews and a 4.9-star Facebook rating. What sets Tax Happens apart is number 1, upfront pricing, 2, clear deadlines, 3, personally available year-round, and number 4, a willingness to empower clients to do as much or as little as they desire. Visit taxhappens.com for more information.
Have you ever tried to buy a home for your family only to find out that you don't qualify for a mortgage loan? You thought that after 20 years as a customer of your bank, they would help you when you needed it the most, right? Unfortunately, the banks of today are not the banks of our parents and grandparents, and our relationships with them just don't matter anymore. My name is Frank Cotto, and I'm the president of the Lincoln Lending Group. We all may need a bank, but we also need a Frank, and that's what I'm here to do for you today. Lincoln Lending Group will waive all of your lending fees, which include your mortgage, application fee, your underwriting fee, processing fees, and any bank points. Just call 813-MORTGAGE. You drop the E, and we'll drop the fee.
In an age when the good and the better vie for attention, it is the best that stands out. The best of Tampa Bay from Proudly Florida is the love story for the city of Tampa, celebrating success, sharing achievements, a tribute to enterprise and community spirit. Let Proudly Florida showcase your business to your city, your nation, and the world. For more information, email info@proudlyflorida.com and be sure to visit proudlyflorida.com.
Are you in need of new flooring or ready to tackle that home remodeling project? Then contact Yeager & Company Incorporated, a family-owned, state-certified general contracting business with over 70 years of experience and the recipient of the Angie's List Super Service Award for the last 8 years in multiple categories. Yeager & Company comes to you with their shop-at-home flooring sales service, and their hardwood flooring refinishing is the very best in the Bay. Kitchen and bath design featuring American-made, well-born cabinets, and all work is done by employees, not subcontractors. Learn more at YeagerFlooring.com.
If you've been following That Business Show on Facebook and Twitter, you may have noticed the quality of some of our images. That's because one of our sponsors is pro photographer Rick Toseda, a member of the Professional Photographers of America. You can view his extensive work by going to his website at ricktoseda.com or call him for an appointment to chat about your photography needs at 813-641-4757. That's 813-641-4757. Rick Toseda Visuals. Call him for your next event or project.
Savvy business owners utilize technology to connect with customers, communicate among teams, and collaborate with partners. Even with advances in technology, you all know it's not infallible. Where do you turn when your technology starts working against you? Who do you depend on to keep your team productive? Don't wait until your technology fails you. Get ahead of the crisis and contact the professionals at Alpha Computing Solutions so they can show you how to keep your technology running smoothly. Visit them online at www.alphacomputing.com.
Who doesn't have a smartphone these days? And of course, there's an app for everything. Well, almost everything. That's why the folks at Popcorn Apps started developing mobile applications. They saw people like you with genius ideas, unable to make those thoughts a reality. They develop applications for tens of thousands of dollars less than you'll find anywhere else, and will turn your idea into a reality in a matter of just a few months. Think you're not ready? Think again. They are your one-stop shop for mobile application development. See them at popcornapps.com with a K in popcorn, or call them at 727-415-6705 for your free consultation and pop your kernel of an idea into $1 million business and a world changer starting today.
Slow traffic in St. Pete on northbound 275 from 375 to Gandy. That's all due to a crash off to the right-hand side north of 54th Avenue North. Very slow traffic on southbound Veterans Expressway between Van Dyke and Hutchinson. Then on the brakes again between Waters and 275. Crash into center lane just before you get to 275. And southbound I-75 jam from just south of Bruce B. Downs to I-4. See traffic problems, call the injury firm of Abrahamson, Udork. Hillsborough traffic tip line 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by Unbound. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
Today, a mix of sun and clouds with a 10% rain chance, high 84. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 68. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with a 10% chance of showers, high 82.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
And we're back to That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business. Talking to Gary Dolgin, attorney with the law offices of Gary S. Dolgin, and also on the ballot for Hillsborough County Circuit Court Judge Group 24. And learn more at GaryDolgin.com.
Gary, you have a lot of great people standing behind you in support, and one of the ones that stuck out to me was the Tampa Bay Times. That's a great affiliation and support to have behind you. How did that come about?
Well, the Tampa Bay Times interviews all candidates for office, and especially in the nonpartisan judicial races where the public doesn't really know a whole lot. They do background checks on you, and I'm very proud of the fact that they've written about my professionalism and ethics and fairness, and especially in a nonpartisan race, because sometimes people will say, oh, the newspaper endorses one party or the other, but both my opponent and I are required to run nonpartisan in the race. So, the newspaper will talk to judges and lawyers and leaders in the community to investigate you. And so I'm very proud of that. Many people will come out to the polls and they say, oh, I've read the endorsement in the paper, the recommendation in the paper, because I don't know anything about the candidates. But in addition to the Tampa Bay Times, I am extremely proud to be endorsed by the Hillsborough County firefighters. They put their lives on the line for us every day. I'm honored to have their endorsement. There's a commercial running on 97 WFLA by one of the firefighters supporting me, and also very proud, since this is a business show, to be endorsed by the Associated Builders and Contractors, and they've talked about the importance of having an expert in the law on the bench and someone with appropriate judicial temperament. And, when a judge gets on the bench, what you want of them is listening to you and treating everyone fairly. So and explaining their decision so that everyone understands it. So even if you don't win, at least you feel like you've been treated fairly, because no matter what a judge does, one side is not going to be happy, just by definition.
Right.
And you're also a board certified. What does that mean in law that you're board certified? I don't fully understand what that means.
Well, the Florida Bar set up a program to protect consumers, and they started the board certification program so a consumer would know that if they had a legal issue in a certain area of law, such as marital and family law, that they would have an expert. Only 7% of the lawyers in the state of Florida are board certified. And one of the things I talk about in my race, I am the only candidate who is a board certified expert.
So that really means something in law then.
It does mean something, because only 7%. And so that's a critical distinction in this race. I'm a board certified expert in my area of law, marital and family law. My opponent has not earned that distinction. And so in order to become board certified, you have to have extensive trial experience, recommendations from judges who you've tried. And it's not, you don't go and ask for the recommendation. The Florida Bar sends them confidential recommendation forms to fill out, so you don't get to see what the judges write about you or your opponents in cases. So family law is a very challenging area, and so when you have an opponent writing good things about you, then that's something that I'm very proud of. And the peer review is so important, but also passing an 8-hour written exam, which is not just true false, but essay.
Right.
And every 5 years you have to be recertified. You don't have to take that exam every 5 years. You only have to take it once. But every 5 years you go through this peer review where you have to have a certain number of trials, certain number of cases that you prepared, and the recommendations. And I've been recertified every 5 years since the year 2000.
Well, you definitely have our votes. And I plan on going to the poll today after, and I'll cast my vote today. And just wanted to remind everybody about early voting, because our wonderful photographer, Rick, just came in earlier, and he didn't realize either that you could actually go vote at anywhere that's open right now during early voting.
At any library, as long as you have your driver's license and and every vote counts. So you never know. You could put me over the top. Go over the Jan Platt Library if that's convenient to you. Go to Jimmy Keel Library, and I'm going to be at Jimmy Keel Library today. So I want to see how many people are listening. If you are listening today, come look for me at Jimmy Keel Library today and tell me you heard me on the show this morning. We'll try it.
Is your mother going to be out with you this afternoon?
My mother is going to be there. She is working hard. 81 years old. She doesn't look like 81, but I'm very fortunate to have a mom helping me. My wife will be out at the library today. My daughter will be out there. That's great. And so it's nice to have the family helping.
About a minute left. What's it like running for a political office? I mean, is it challenging? Is it just life-changing? And how much has it affected your business? I mean, what's it like running?
Well, it is all of those. On the one hand, it can be exhilarating because of all the people that you have the privilege of meeting. On the other hand, it's been over a year. It is a sacrifice financially because you can't spend as much time in your office, especially if you're a solo practitioner. So you just have to be prepared financially to know that you're going to take that hit. Mm-hmm. But it's all of those. Your time, it consumes your life, your family's life. I mean, the whole family is involved in the campaign.
It's a commitment for all of you.
It is a commitment, and so knowing what it's like, I applaud anyone that runs for office, whether I agree with them or not. They're putting their foot forward.
Well, good discussion, and we wish you the best of luck in the election. Definitely a qualified candidate. So, Gary Dolgin, attorney with the law offices of Gary S. Dolgin, and again, also on the ballot for Hillsborough County Circuit Court Judge Group 24. So, Gary, thank you so much.
Thank you, and I asked everyone for their vote between now and Tuesday.
And again, you can learn more about him at GaryDolgin.com. Learn more about this program over at TampaBayRadio.com. Again, live video stream available over there. Also, you'll find us all across social media, Facebook.com/That Business Show. Also, Twitter under Jamie_Maloney. And then the YouTube channel where all the high-definition videos are located. And that channel's name is just simply Jamie Maloney. You've been listening to That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business.